Good afternoon. Let me make sure that I'm all set up. Everybody's ready to go.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can
Perfect.
hear you. What's going on in the world on December 18th, 2025 that would be highly impactful to business owners, Eunice?
Yep. We are fast approaching the end of the month, the end of the year, and it's good to be here. So let's see what today holds for us. You want to wait a couple of minutes to let a few people in?
Yeah, give it a couple of minutes to let folks come on in if they're coming in.
Okay.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good. It's not as cold, so you know how I don't like being cold, so this it's a little bit doable, but other than that, I am doing well. And how are you?
I noticed that you aren't wearing your I am cold shirt 24 by 7. So that's a very good sign as well, right? That you don't have to put that shirt on. I think it was on earlier this week, and since we purchased two for you, that is aligned with that. But
Yeah.
today is the FOMC. They're meeting today. The
Mm.
Federal Reserve Open Market Committee, I believe, is what it stands for. And the market is talking about there's going to be a 25 basis point reduction. However, I don't really know whether or not if this is going to be impactful for us and our business because the Federal Reserve have reduced interest rates by 75 basis points starting in September. However, mortgage rates have gone up in that time. So I don't really know whether or not if I should be paying attention to this. I guess I am just because so many of our businesses are around that, right? But I'm seeing right now, it's at about 6.7, and on November 8th, it was about 6.93. So
Mhm.
still in the high sixes as of yesterday.
Well, I mean, I think like, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Or
I
I
didn't freeze again.
I could see your lips moving, but I couldn't hear you. That's why I was asking if you're still here.
We're not trying to have a snafu like last week.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
So go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was saying, well, I think like most things, we're not going to see immediate results from the interest rates, especially if you're coming from a perspective of residential mortgages and things of that sort. So time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah, but weren't you expecting or hoping that when they started lowering rates in September, that by now we would be, with the first digit is a five? That was my hope, is that the first digit would be a five.
No, I think for me, I was still expecting it to be in the high sixes. So maybe next year, that's when I'm hoping we could get somewhere in the fives. But at the same time, I mean, I know we are not gonna, or not anytime soon, are we gonna get the twos and threes, right?
No,
So
no, no.
it's going to. I'm optimistic for the sixes, a high six, mid sixes or so. But I'm not a financial lender or anything like that, but I do track these numbers just to see where they're at for conversations with potential clients. And yes, right now it's still in the sixes, high sixes there. So we will see.
We will see. Only time will tell. But that's an interesting piece. Is that 100 basis points reduction since September, and in that time, rates are still as high as they have been. When I'm looking at this graph that I'm looking at, let me just go back to, what is it, September. All right, so in early September, rates were actually, the lowest was that I'm seeing here, it was about 6.25. So I guess the market at that point in time, 6.11 was the rate for 30-year mortgages on 9/11/2024. And to see that rates at this point in time are 6.93, it's something that's just a little bit concerning for those of us who are in the real estate space as a whole.
Hmm.
Can we do about it? Absolutely nothing, right? So this is not going to be one of those instances where you have one of these deep, drawn out conversations about what could happen. But I wanted to ask you, if you, like, if I'm a person who's looking to purchase a new home, tell me what that conversation is right now.
Are you referring to surrounding where the interest rates are in particular?
Yeah, I'm gonna role play and say, hey, uh, I'm recently married, no children, right? I just moved into the Northern Virginia area, and I see where rents are, right? I think it might be beneficial for me to purchase a home versus renting. How would you advise that client understanding where rates are today?
Well, like any other person, I think what's important really is to go back a little bit and try and determine, is there a pain point and what is the pain point there? Is the concern that the interest rates are high? Usually, when people's concern is that the interest rates are high, one of the things that I like to have a conversation with people about is to talk about change and how interest rates will always change. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, right? Whereas something like the value of your home, with exceptions to maybe a couple of years, 2008, or things of that sort, but usually the value of your home goes up. Now, when your value of your home goes up, if you were considering buying, let's say this year, 2024, chances are whatever the value of your home is in 2024, come 2025 or come 2026, it's going to continue going up. It's very unlikely for the value of your home to go down.
Mm,
Because of that, even if your interest rate is high, when those interest rates go down, which is what we are expecting to see in a year or two, to start seeing those rates really, really going down, then you can always refinance. However, when you say, I'm going to wait until interest rates go down, you're going to wait. Yes, your interest rate is going to go down. However, the value of homes will continue to go up. Then you have to now think about your buying power. is your buying power going to keep also increasing, or is it going to keep decreasing? So you may be better
Hmm.
off buying at a high interest rate and then waiting until such a time that you are in a position where you are able to refinance. When you refinance, you can now lower that mortgage payment that you are making. That's another way. Of course, there's many other things to consider, but if your only concern is just the interest rate is high, then that's what I'll say to you. You have to consider the price of homes and whether those home prices are going to stay stagnant or are they going to continue going up, and what is the impact of the prices going up on your buying power.
Yeah, I don't see the price of properties going down. And here we are in 2024. I remember when you were working with clients in 21 and 22, clients were getting frustrated because you were submitting offer after offer after offer and being outbid on those properties,
Exactly.
right? So right now, it could be in a way a buyer's market because there's less competition, even though the rates are higher. So there's less competition at this point in time, so you can get yourself into a property that you like, right? And I always say the foundation to building wealth is through owning a home, right? So that's the model that I've used, I've implemented. I say rather than spend money on rent, why not spend money on a mortgage, pay down that asset? Eventually, it's going to have equity. You can leverage that equity for other opportunities to continue to grow your wealth. So, if you are in the Northern Virginia area and you're looking for a realtor, you're going to see the QR code in the upper corner to scan and go to Eunice's website for Homes 365. That's the business that we are focused on around all things real estate. But a good transition, since we were talking about interest rates and where things are, I believe the bigger question, because as we mentioned, the Federal Reserve, with their overnight number, has decided to lower. However, interest rates are at a higher point. I believe the reason for that is the bond market is saying that they're not playing the game that we're playing in the United States. And I believe the bond market, which is driving that 10-year treasury yield, they're saying, oh, we don't like where things are because a couple of things are happening, right? The United States has a tremendous amount of debt on its books. And the higher the interest rate, right, the more of our budget is going to have to go to servicing that debt. And I believe that that is the reason why rates are continuing to stay as high as they are, is because the bond market is saying we see things just a little bit differently right now. And I think if I was watching the news, they were having a conversation about we're up against some type of debt window.
Mm.
So that's all interesting, etc. So
Well,
that's topic. Go ahead.
Well, I was saying, with these things, you always have to dig a little bit deeper. Like what you're saying, I think from a consumer's perspective, we always just look at it as what am I getting and what am I getting right now? And right now, I'm getting this high interest rate. And for a lot
Hmm.
of consumers, the reduction from the fats in their minds should also mean a reduction and start seeing that change. And things don't work like that. So it's very important that we dig a little bit deeper to get informed, a more informed explanation. So thanks for sharing that with our listeners.
No, that we're looking at this thing from multiple angles, right? We're not in a position where we're just looking at one thing. We're looking at this thing from multiple angles so that we know how we could actually advise our clients,
Yeah.
right? So that they know to go in that right direction. So let's just finish on with that hypothetical that we were talking about. And the hypothetical is this new family recently married. They're deciding that they have purchased a home, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a Life Happens social media post the other day that talked about that this is the best time when you do have a life event such as purchasing a home, that you should move into purchasing some kind of life insurance. Would you
Yes.
also advise of the same?
Yes, I do. A lot of times when life events occur, that's the best time that you need to look at where you are financially and assess the risks that come with those life events and see how best you can try and mitigate those risks. For example, when you're newly married, one of the things you have to think about is that now you have a partner. You are now, there's two people involved. One might be dependent on the other financially. You both might be contributing to the household, whatever the case might be. But all that just means is that if one is no longer there and not able to contribute financially, then it's a good time to be looking at getting policies, right? If it's a family where maybe you just got married, you already have children, it's a great time to also be looking at policies to see, okay, we now have this household. How do we make sure that we protect this family if one of us passes on? Will the other be in a position where they're financially able to take care of the family? That's another event where most people look at their policies, assess their risks, and then determine the way forward. Another life event is what you're just mentioning, that yes, you have this married couple who are saying it's time for us to own a home. A home it's a great step for any family. For most families, it's a great step to start building wealth for your family. Now, that comes along with the risk, because here you are, let's say you just bought this home for 550,000. You probably got a loan for about 540,000, 530,000. That is a loan that you're going to pay over for several years. However, you got this loan, and let's say both of you are working. If one of you passes on and now the one person left, will that person be still able to, will this one person now still be able to maintain the mortgage, maintain the expenses of the household, and would the family still be able to attain or to live comfortably as they used to? That calls for an analysis into where are we in need of insurance to just safeguard in the event that one of you passes away. So, yes, those are some of the events that happen in life that call for people to sit back and say, okay, let's sit down and see what else do we need to just make sure that we are safeguarding our financial well-being. Does that
No, and
answer the question?
well, the one thing that I often hear, and I believe it's a misnomer, is that I'm going to go with a scenario where the wife is working outside of the home. So
Mm-hmm.
you usually think that you need to ensure the primary breadwinner, because that's a number that right, from an income perspective and what is being brought into the household. And I
Yes.
think what we do is we discount the fact that the homemaker, and in this scenario is the father, he's responsible for taking care of the children.
Mm-hmm.
He's responsible for preparing a dinner, right? He's responsible for laundry, etc. We don't typically put a value on the spouse that is in the household, and we only focus on the income earner. We don't think about the stay-at-home parent and all of those activities, and if that person was removed from the scenario, well, these are things that would have to be accounted for as
Yeah.
well.
I love that you brought that up. A lot of times, one of the most asked questions that I get is I'll talk to spouses who say, "Hey, my spouse or my partner is actually a stay at home, and do they really need insurance? Because at least, you know, I'll still be able to take care of the bills and everything because I'm already doing it." What most people then don't calculate, which is what you just said, is that let's take a scenario where you have three kids, right?
Hmm.
If you were to, if the stay-at-home partner was to pass away, those kids are going to need a lot of assistance. That you're going to have to either start paying for them to either you're going to drop them off at different times to go to school or daycare. You're going to have to pay for after school activities. You're going to have to now worry about meals at whether it's meals at the after school care. All those little expenses add up. All those things add up. Are you going to take days off to take the kids in for their annuals, or when they're sick, are you going to take the days off? Who's going to stay with them? Are you going to have a nanny, a live-in nanny? All those things come into consideration. So yes, both partners need insurance, not only for the person that is working outside of the home. Both partners need insurance. A lot of times, when you do run these illustrations or when you do run these policies, one of the things that they also ask you is the net worth of the family. So, yes, you may not have an income from being a stay at home parent. However, as a family unit, we can gauge your insurability based off of the net worth that the family has.
No, that's really deep, and something that I think often flies below the radar, right?
True.
And it's something that needs to have the spotlight put on it, because one of the things that we are thinking about, we typically focus on the business owner and what they're doing as they are attempting to grow their empire, right? But we have to take a 360-degree focus on all of this, right? So that we could de-risk certain scenarios. You can't be in a situation where you're going to eliminate all risk to all scenarios,
Hmm.
but you can de-risk certain scenarios at the same time. So I guess overall, that's going to be the theme about this session is, what is it that you're doing? How is what's going on at a macroeconomic level impacting what's happening to you at that micro level for you, your family, whether you are a wage earner, right? Or if you are an entrepreneur in business for yourself, how do you de risk, right? Certain components of your life, because, we cannot predict the future.
Yeah. And it's important to really seek out the help. I know a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we have so much that we are doing, building our business. We wear so many hats within the business that certain things are easy to just forget or not to prioritize. So it's important to be in a position where you can seek out either whether it's assistance or help or seek knowledge out there so that you can know who to reach out to for certain um, things that you may need. It's one thing to focus on building your business and making sure that your family is provided for. It's yet another thing to say, okay, as I'm building this, how can I, within that time when I'm building all this, how can I protect myself? How can I protect my business? How can I protect the people that I love or the people that are depending on me? Sometimes, as a business owner, I've had this one quite a lot also where you are building your business, but you have a partner who already has a W 2. Most people then say, well, if the business doesn't really do so well, at least we have my partner who has an income. While that is great and it gives you some type of cushion, it does not mean do not think about reducing the risks associated with what you are doing, which is building the business. As you are building that business, you still have to have some type of insurance to make sure that if it so happens that, or when it happens that you pass before, or your partner, let's say your partner who has a W 2 passes before you, that there is some type of structure that has been set up to protect you. Or if you were to pass while you are building this business, that there is also another structure there that's been set up to protect you and that business. So it's not a matter of, okay, as long as there is somebody working in the home or somebody with a W 2 in the home, then we should be all good. It's all good. We don't have to worry about it.
True. And since we are into handling misnomers, I think there are a significant amount of young people who don't understand insurance as a whole, right? And they're young, they're healthy, they're vital. I think that that's a significant mistake because premiums on insurance is a function of age.
Mm-hmm.
So, if nothing else, it's better to get a policy in your 20s than it would ever be to get a policy in your 30s or your 40s, right? Because at least that at that point you have locked in your medicals, right? And then from there you can get additional policies at those levels. It was just something that, came to my mind that I had, thought of, and I thought it would probably be beneficial to the community as they are thinking about how do they de-risk their lives, right, and move forward. Just some of the things that they could have in mind. We're coming up on the bottom of the hour, and I just want to say to the community, we're gonna be off until January 8th, right? It's gonna be January 8th.
Yes.
We're gonna be off until January 8th. So I just want to send out to the community, right? I want to say to them, Merry Christmas, right? And also a Happy New Year. One of the things that is on my mind, one of the things that is on my mind is a conversation about starting off the New Year's with the correct modality, right?
Mm.
And setting up those goals and those visions that you're going to have in 2025 2024 came and went. It went very fast, right? But the conversation that is next is, how do you get the most out of a year, right? And I believe that you get the most out of a year when you have proper planning and goal setting. One of the things that I have learned is I used to be annualized, right? I would make a goal for the year. And I found as though, I had been productive in certain instances. But what I have found, because I'm always looking for opportunities where I can get better here or I could get better there, what I have found after reading the book 12-Week Year was that when you compartmentalize your year into 4 segments, procrastination is not allowed to slip in, right? So that's something that we will be talking about when we get back in January of 2025. I just wanted to also put into the chat that we're looking for guests, right? We want to have a conversation with small business owners about their highs and their lows as well. I see lows as opportunities. You thought that the world was going to work out this way, and the world actually decided to work out that way, right? Life is not predictable in any way at all. So if you want to be a guest, and we do have a guest scheduled for January, on January 8th when we return. A good friend of mine, I've gotten to know him significantly over the year, is John Dahlberg, who is with Growth Sigma, right? And John focuses a lot on strategy type of work, right? So he's going to come to bring our audience of business owners some things that they should do in order to put that strategy together so that they could grow their business. So if you are interested in joining Eunice and I, or either Eunice or I, depending upon circumstances and what's going on that Wednesday, I would welcome you to join us at the same time. Just fill out the form and we'll get back in touch with you for scheduling, etc. Eunice, anything to the audience before we part ways?
Yeah, well, as the year ends, it's a great time as you are making plans and you are writing down or budgeting and things of that sort. It's a great time to look at the year and say, what is it that I had planned to do that I did not accomplish? And what is it that I had planned to do that I had accomplished? You look at what you did not accomplish. Why did you not accomplish those things? Do you perhaps need someone to help you with that? For example, do you need some type of coaching, some mentorship? It's important to, especially for us business owners, to realize that you can never be good and be able to do every single thing in the business. You are shortchanging yourself by doing that. You cannot expect to be the CEO, the marketing VP, the investor relations, the CFO, everything. You cannot expect to be that. So you need to allow yourself some type of room to learn from others, to have others hold you accountable for the things that you are more capable of doing, and giving out or employing others to do the other things. As you are budgeting and making plans, think about the continuity of your business. How do you ensure continuity of your business? Do you perhaps need to make sure that you are insured to ensure that continuity of your business? Those are things that are business expenses, and you can put as you're planning for next year with the types of expenses that the business is likely to incur, the types of income that you're looking to bring in. Are you in a position where you are able to sit down and strategize with someone or within the team? This is the perfect time to be looking back at those things and saying, if anything, I'm going to pick one thing that I know I was not able to accomplish, and I'm going to make sure that come 2025, I am going to get this done. What is that one thing for you? Sit down, think about it, reach out to others. We are here also as business owners. We love learning from others. We share our knowledge. We share the things that we've gone through. We share the things that we've learned. And it's good to have that community surrounding you to help you to be in a position where you are able to grow with others within your community. So don't be strangers. Reach out. Let's all have conversations. Let's see how best we can work with each other and help each other out to make sure that 2025, the lessons that we learned are now going to be accomplishments in 2025.
The only thing that I would want to add, you said that so eloquently, is if you didn't accomplish something that you set as a goal for 2024, give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Know that you've tried your hardest to accomplish that particular goal, but it didn't happen within the time frame that you've given yourself. First, give yourself a little bit of grace, give yourself some pause, but know that now you have the opportunity to go back at it again, right? And that's why we're building out this VIP community, is because we want to say, I think the expression, and I'm going to use this as our sign off: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. So we're going to close out this year in this session on, we want to go with others, and we welcome you into the community. You'll see it inside of the chat, but the we're looking for guests to join us on our, what do we call this? Is this a podcast or a vlog or whatever it is that we're calling it? We don't have to give it a name. We just know that we're doing it. Um, this is it. So we welcome you. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your holiday with family and friends. And we'll see you again on January 8th when we have John Dahlberg from Rho Sigma, who's going to be our guest. Until then, take care. Be well.
Bye and happy holidays.